And I never moved from the bed. And then I heard boom, boom, them running up the stairs, and I never moved from bed. And then my bedroom door flew in, and they maced my dog. I'll never forget.
Maced the dog?
Yeah, it was a puppy too. It was a Doberman. But anyway, yeah, and they said don't move, and I didn't. And then one of them hit me on the head with this thing, and I'll never forget. It hit me in both ears. Hit me in the back of the head with this thing. And hit me in both fucking ears. It was weird.
So do you know you're fucked at this point?
Yeah, well, then they like drug me downstairs, set me on the couch, and they're telling me like, we can make Mr. Burchard, we can make this all go away.
Hey, Lou, what's up, man?
How are we doing? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, it is.
You brought us a very special
I
guest.
did,
what I
a
hear.
man that's very near and dear to my heart, in such a weird way.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess technically my brother-in-law, right?
Yeah, you're my brother-in-law. Absolutely.
What's his name?
Oh, that's Nate. That's my guy, Nate.
Nate. We have Nate with us.
Yes, I'll
Nate,
tell you,
big
you guys did okay. Now, Joe Rogan had Donald Trump on.
I know.
yesterday,
Fuck him.
So,
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
This is our answer
yeah, so
to
you
Joe
guys are
Rogan.
answering back pretty good.
Yeah.
I say.
Shots fired, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take one to the
Best
ear.
way
Take
we
this.
could get back
Yeah.
was to bring Nate.
Bring Nate. So Nate, my guy, man. Nate's got a good story. Let's see. Yeah, he's did some time in the joint, right?
I did 6 years.
Did a 6-piece in the joint.
Yes, I did.
Multiple prisons, you were telling us before.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was at Ross, and I was at Lebanon, and then I got my security lowered eventually to still maximum, but I was at Ross.
Okay, what's that, like a 2?
No, that's a 3.
That's still a 3.
Yeah, I was at the max across
how
the
do you
street.
go from
I
3
wasn't
to
at
3?
Chillicothe, I was at Ross.
Okay. What's
Lebanon
Lead?
is a
Lead's 3,
disciplinary
right?
camp.
Oh, okay.
It's only for
It's-
disciplinary.
So that's like where the bad
So,
kids go.
13
If you
years and
screw
above
up.
or disciplinary.
Damn.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, you're in trouble. But if you're there, if you have a short amount of time. I get in with 6 years was a short timer.
Oh.
Which was not good.
Not good at all,
really
no,
like
because
that.
people are looking at you like,
Yeah,
fuck
most of the
this
people.
guy.
Yeah, most of the people there had
The fact
long,
that 6
a long
years
time.
is not a long time is concerning.
Yeah.
13 was the
It's
average.
quite a
Is the
while.
average sentence there was the average amount of time. Most of the
13
guys, a lot of
years.
the guys had, life sentences. But they all thought they were going home.
Hmm.
Everyone thought they were going home.
Right.
Man.
Clinging to hope.
Oh God, yeah, the parole board strings them along each year. They tell them what they do is they imagine if they told you that's it, your life in prison, never get out. Well, it'll stop you from killing one of those guards,
Yeah,
or one of
right.
the inmates or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I tell you,
oh, yeah,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, give me 25 years, never get a ticket, never do anything.
Right.
Maybe I'll let you go home.
Right.
Now I've already told your victims' families you're never getting
Never
out. Don't
getting
worry
out,
about it.
Yeah.
And you're not.
Keep dangling a carrot.
But they let them believe, that they're going home. It kind of gives them incentive to not.
Act up.
Yeah, quite.
Makes sense. Smart.
To a certain
Get some,
extent.
get some
I get it.
certificates under your belt. Come see us in 25.
Yeah, and so the Ohio Parole Board got reevaluated because they went a full year without, or maybe longer without releasing anyone or XYZ. That too much time had gone past without them
So they have
Without
like a-
releasing anybody?
giving anybody a
a
parole.
quota they have to meet.
So it raised a red flag somewhere, and they had to either fire people and add new, or something was something.
Don't get locked
was
up in
changed.
Ohio.
Yeah, it's a shitty place. to
Ladies
live.
and gentlemen, please.
So Nate's life has got all my favorite things about someone's life. Like
Right on.
did drugs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Big time drug guy.
Yeah, did that.
Made some drugs, sold some drugs, right?
Created.
And
Yeah.
Nate too is also, like I said, we're brothers-in-law, and we also have we took our women from others, right?
Yeah, in a way.
In a kind of way, in a kind of weird way.
I suppose.
And he's been to prison. Now he's got a baby, so we got all the
Yeah, you guys are connected
all the
on
bond. We're the same person.
so many different levels.
Basically,
Yeah,
But,
look,
Some drugs,
really,
some prison time.
face it, you needed me.
I did. When Nate came back in the picture,
Yeah,
and
when I came around, I was his saving grace.
when he really did. He took so much heat
He
off
was in
me,
a lot of
and
trouble.
I thank you for that.
That's the-
Look,
What?
I was public enemy number 1 until Nate came around.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Which
of your
is-
He
background?
was public enemy.
My background and then Nate on paper
Took
was
the heat off you?
better than me, I guess, right? Because
Yeah,
I was
don't
like,
know. It's
I was
hard,
fresh
hard,
off,
debatable.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
debatable. Yeah, hard to say.
So yeah, he
Depends who
was.
you ask.
I guess I was the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, I'd been out 15 years this time, and
And,
I'd
have
been
a-
building her
have a
mother
job.
set of stairs down there visiting for the weekends just to help out as a favor, and had been a family friend for
And mom
my
loves
whole life.
Mom loves you.
And we got along. Yeah, her mom loved me. We loved each other. We got along great.
And then
the day Atira and I got back together, everything changed.
Were you raised in
Immediately,
Ohio?
I was in prison.
Oh, yeah, let's
I had
talk
been in
about-
prison. Nobody, I wasn't welcome at the house, and blah, blah, blah. It was a huge thing.
Yeah.
It changed immediately. No, they kind of say that didn't happen, but I know that it did.
It definitely did.
I know that it did. I was there.
They
But
were-
anyway, that doesn't matter. I don't think people did it on purpose. I just think that,
It's just the cards we were dealt.
Yeah,
We're
you
just
know,
trying
it
to
was
have the
just-
best hand.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It was very
That's fair.
strange. I was always welcomed completely until her daughter and I got back together. And this is a woman I've been with for 4 years.
You said you guys were together in high school, right?
Yeah, we were
Were you-
together. Yeah.
Were you raised in Ohio?
Yes. Yeah.
Where at?
Yeah. So I was Buckeye Lake, Hebron area at first, and then went to high school in Columbus. I went to Catholic school for first kindergarten through 8.
Oh, man.
Yeah, in Newark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that back when they could
St.
hit
Francis.
kids?
Oh yeah, they didn't
Paddle.
really. It's not like that's kind of. They don't really hit you so much. They would put us like in the closet. And I remember one of our teachers would take a coat hanger and put it on our ear and hang it on the thing, but it was bent to a point where
So it's like-
it just kind of
Okay.
made you stand there. It didn't really.
It wasn't painful. It was just like
it was just no. But I remember that
annoyance.
was my second grade teacher though. So in the second grade, being locked in a closet with a thing on your ear, you did feel like you were in some sort of trouble.
Yeah,
I
for
think,
sure.
I think they should keep doing stuff
Bring
like
that
that.
back,
personally.
yeah. So you have mom and dad.
Yes.
Were they together?
Yeah, until I was probably 8 or something.
Okay.
8 or 10 years old, maybe.
And then mom and dad are normal folks, like.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. To a point, my dad had a factory job, and but they were young. My mom was 16 or 17 when I was born.
Man.
And my dad was 18 or 19.
Okay.
So they probably. Matt, you think it's confusing for you and I at this age.
Yeah, imagine being
imagine
16,
Maddie,
having
yeah,
a fucking kid.
Yeah, and I can just put myself in their shoes. I don't know, or knowing what I know now, I can imagine how confusing it was for them.
Yeah.
So they're together, and just didn't work out. My dad was doing drugs,
What's your dad doing?
and he cocaine. He was selling coke, I guess. I was young at the time. This is information I've collected.
Through the years,
Right.
like as an adult.
And from him when I got older. So when they separated, I didn't see much of him. He didn't really talk to us.
And like, is he like powder coke? Or we talking crack here? What are we talking?
I remember one of my memories. I remember they were arguing, and I remember somehow somebody threw something and hit a bag hitting the wall, and powder dust.
It's just
flying.
snowing.
I didn't remember that at one point, but I was so young, I really didn't know. Like I didn't see any that really.
Yeah.
It just seemed to me like his buddies would come over a lot, and they'd play basketball in the living room or whatever. I thought it was all cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got older I realized.
Too young to realize what was
Yeah,
happening.
and my mom even kind of told us like that he smoked pot. And I kind of blamed her, and she never told me, like I said, like, well, smoking pot, that's not fair.
Your dad. She never said like
and,
your dad's like a loser,
She
like
didn't
coke
know.
dealer.
No, she didn't. And she
But
just told
gave
me that
some
he
kind of
smoked
an
pot.
explanation
Yeah,
with
just that
the
he
pot.
smoked pot, yeah.
And that's kind of weird because like I never been to a trap and bought some coke and like I'm just like, yeah, let's play some basketball over here too.
Well, these were his friends. Like it really wasn't like that. These were his friends. Like I guess he sold it at work too. I don't know. I'm not sure. It wasn't
They're
really like
just
a
hanging
trap.
out.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a trailer. It was a trailer in Hebron though, but
Okay.
it was not a trap.
Not the trap.
It sounds like it, but it wasn't.
Yeah. It's got all the
So-
trap qualities. Not the
yeah.
trap.
It sounds very
It's a
much
trap
like,
home, not
Yeah.
a
I don't
trap
know.
house.
Maybe it
Yeah.
was.
It's a
Maybe my mom
mobile
was right.
trap home.
Mom,
and
what
then-
else do you need? I need to know.
Yeah. So these guys are coming over your dad's. So he's dealing coke. So he's
Yeah, I
dealing-
guess so. I mean,
Or is he
Little
just
bit
like
of
have a
both.
coke habit
Yeah,
when
exactly.
like?
No, I think he was selling it. I'm sure he was selling it. I found out later in life from my uncle and stuff that and from my dad too that they were, once I got old enough to smoke pot and stuff,
Yeah,
my dad
yeah.
and I started hanging out again.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because your mom's like a normal like square, if you will, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My mom, she did not like that stuff at all. So when it came to me smoking pot the first time, she found that it was a huge deal. And maybe by the second or third time, I was out of the house.
I like just get
What-
toss you out.
Yeah. she's
What
like
age was that?
16.
That's when you
Okay.
started smoking pot.
Yeah.
Man.
And then you're kicked out at 16.
I was probably about 15 or 16. She caught me one of the first or second times.
Of course.
I got a bag of pot from my uncle, and he gave this thing to me, and I got home with it, and she went right to my coat pocket and
Just
took
knew immediately.
Oh yeah, it was funny, and she knew right where it was at. But they called the cops, and I came downstairs, and the cops were at the table.
With your bag of weed.
Well, yeah, and the Powell police, they called.
Wow.
Yeah, well, my mom at this point, we had moved to Powell. And,
Okay.
she had
Is
remarried.
so your mom and
She
dad
had
are not
remarried.
together anymore?
No, yeah. So they got divorced, and we moved in with my grandparents.
Yeah.
And they had a pretty suburban house in Hebron there, pretty close to where we had lived. So we didn't have to change schools right away. And eventually my mom met someone and remarried and moved to Powell.
And now is that the guy I met, the stepfather?
Yes,
Okay.
that's Brian. Yes, so they're still married today.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've been married a lot of years now.
So she finds the weed, right? It calls the cops on you.
Yes.
Jesus, that
yeah,
seems.
She did that quite a bit. They called them on me once. They pressed charges for receiving stolen property on me for a pager. I took out of the principal's office.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
They took me to
That's
court.
a felony,
To
right?
court in Delaware County. And I represented myself and got not guilty. I'll never forget.
As
it.
a
Oh,
kid?
As a kid, yeah.
How old were you?
Our vice principal came in and testified against me. I brought a friend of mine in. I was 15. I brought a friend of mine in to help me at court. Travis Cosmos, and he sat him on the stand and asked him questions. And when it came to the end, the judge said, "I've only heard one story that matched today. It was Mr. Coslow's and Mr. Burchard's."
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you should have saw the look on their face. It was incredible. They were all out in the hallway waiting for me to get in trouble bad because I was smoking the pot.
Smoking the pot.
And probably stealing too. What I did was I
And-
took a pager. It was my buddies, and they were taking our pagers to school. I'm in the office for whatever trouble I was most likely in otherwise, and I saw it. And
So you
I'm like, "Oh, I'll
said-
give that back to them. I take it, give it back to them." That was the end of it.
So
They called the cops file receiving stolen property charge on me.
So you were doing things at a young age, even if it wasn't just drugs. You were doing things you shouldn't do at a young age. Because I know I stole a bunch of shit when I was young,
Yeah.
before I even started drinking and using and things like that.
Yeah,
It's safe to say you were,
on the wrong track.
or just
yeah.
was that like a one-time thing? Like stole a
Yeah, I
pager?
wasn't stealing it at all. It was my buddies. I gave it back to them. The principals were taking
You're
them.
just Robin Hooding that
Yeah,
shit.
and I was in the office for
Oh,
some
okay.
trouble. I was probably mouthing off to a teacher or something. They sent me off, whatever I was in the office for. I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's Travis's. So
Oh,
I take
okay.
it. I give
I
it
got
back
it.
to
I
him.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they call the cops.
So who, the principal or the
Yes,
school
and file
calls the
charges
cops?
on me. And they take me to court for this.
And
in
you
Delaware
defend
County.
yourself
And
as
you
a
def-
15-year-old.
Yeah.
So what's
they
your-
file
what's your-
receiving stolen property charge?
All right. So what's your defense here?
On
Let's
me.
talk about that day.
So I got Travis got the half the day off school for that. I'll never forget it. I brought him in there, and I didn't even have to lie, but I told him I got it off the thing, gave it back to him.
And that worked for you.
And yeah.
And that got you off.
I can't remember what they tried to say now, but the vice principals came in and tried to say something, that wasn't true. And whatever it was, the principal and the vice principal both came in with different stories about whatever they were trying to say. And Travis and I didn't. We just said, hey, it was in the office, and I gave it back to him, and nobody stole anything.
So do you think it was
Well
a
done.
big deal being
yeah,
like 15 and going to court and
They,
like
they
defending
were
yourself?
so mad in the hallway when they came out. They were like out in the hallway waiting for me to be in big trouble.
So were you like, it wasn't a big deal to you? Going to court at 15, defending yourself, you were just like...
No, it was. I was pissed about it. Yeah,
Okay.
I was pretty pissed. Like, I was pretty mad.
Because like at 15,
I was
that's,
kind of mad my mom went along with it too. She wasn't more like on my team about it. She wanted me to get. They all wanted me to get in trouble.
So why does everybody want you to fry at that age? Like, 'cause you're
They
like
just thought I was
you're
bad
a
kid. I was
dangerous
smoking
pothead.
Yeah, I was smoking. I was a dangerous pothead, dude. I was out. I was skipping the school. I was smoking the pot. I was going to the parties.
So when you got kicked out, you said,
Yeah,
at 16?
yeah.
So what happens then? Where do
So
you go?
my dad
What-
was waiting for me in the school parking lot. They told me that my mom told me if I wanted to do drugs, I could go live in a drug house.
With your dad.
And at this time, he really is selling drugs and living in the East.
and
End
I'm
of
sure
New York.
you were fine with
And,
that.
yeah, I
'cause
thought it was party time for
Yeah.
sure.
Because
I didn't
dad's
even
like
know-
the fun, cool one. Mom's like the obviously like she's the guy by the book, and like you're not doing that pot on my watch.
Damn right.
Yeah.
I thought, oh great, you think you're outsmarting me? Guess what? Now I can smoke all the pot I want.
And I can do whatever I
So,
want.
was that a
Yeah.
major turning point for you in your life?
That turned it all.
What happened next?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't already. I guess I was already smoking the pot.
It just gave you, like
know?
More
Whatever
freedom
you
to do
wanna
what you
say,
want.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that was it. Yeah, I was at school, and somehow they called me to the office and told me, "Hey, your dad's here to pick you up." And I got out to the car, and he was sitting there in the parking lot. He had a bag of pot. He said, "Son, might as well roll this one up. You're living with me now."
man.
Yeah, I didn't really have any sort of warning or anything. That's it. He was in a Buick station wagon, and we're rolling to Newark.
And that's it.
Yeah, and I'm rolling the joint, and that's it. I'm out of here.
Now you're with Dad.
I'm out of this school and everything. Yeah, I'm starting at Newark in a couple of days, whatever. I go to Newark High.
What happens next? How does your life change?
So then I'm at Newark High, and I'm living in the basement of my dad's house, and he's got a house with his buddy in Newark, and they're just basically he's selling drugs out of the place, and his buddy has a factory job, but it's they're smoking crack and stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's one of them places.
So is this like a hole in the wall type place? What kind of place is this? Like
no, these are more like functional crackheads.
Okay.
These are functional crackheads. Like my dad wasn't, they weren't crackheads. They just smoked crack, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know
Just
what
like
I mean?
gentlemen who indulged in crack cocaine.
They just like to, they would get down, and I would have to go to the refrigerator, and I was under 18. I knew what they were doing, sort of, but I wasn't allowed to see it, so they would leave me pot downstairs. They would give me a couple of joints, and I'd have like cable TV down there. I could smoke cigarettes. I could smoke pot.
So you just chill in the basement.
That's great.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smoke rings, and they'd hit the TV. I was getting so good. And
Damn,
but
talent right
I
there.
would have to say something to get to the fridge. I would remember it was funny because they would have to put everything away for me to get to the refrigerator.
Like
So I'd have
all
to,
the
say,
paraphernalia.
Hey, I'm gonna come up and get something
Right.
out of it.
Hey, I'm coming up.
Yeah, and then eventually we had to move out of there in the middle of the night because the guy that lives there beat up his girlfriend, and we had to take a bunch of drugs and leave the house in the middle of the night. And we
Damn.
moved to my grandparents.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, we loaded up like some pounds of weed and whatever into the car in the middle of the night and drove out there at 2 or 3 in the morning. And the next day I made school one time.
Damn, bud.
Yeah.
And then like a functional crackhead.
Did you graduate? Sorry.
No, go
No,
ahead.
I did not. I didn't make it through.
Didn't make it through high school.
No,
Where'd
I wasn't graduation material.
Where'd you get to?
I was-
How far along in the process did you get?
I made it through most of my senior year. I
Okay.
just didn't go to school. We GED'd out, I think, before the year was even over.
Okay.
And my wife now,
Yeah.
and I took our GEDs together then.
Oh.
Okay.
And yeah, she was like 15 at the time.
And
Damn.
then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe 16. We were young, maybe 15 or 16 years old. She should have been in the 10th grade, and I should have been in 12th.
So did you go to work?
No, I was dealing drugs by that time.
Okay.
So eventually I became the hookup for all these people, my dad and everybody.
Okay. So you kind of
So-
took over for your dad?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but it just, you I guess you kind of want to do,
what your dad does.
Yeah, I guess as a young man, you kind of want to, or you
And you
think
never have
right.
to like really work if you just sell drugs, enough
Yeah.
drugs. Like you don't have to have a job.
Yeah.
And you could still smoke pot all day and watch cable TV.
Yeah, I tell you, I got away with it for a lot of years. I really did.
And what do you start off selling?
And started out with weed. We went frisbee golfing one day, and they weren't going to. My dad and some friends of his, his buddy, we used to play frisbee golf together, and they couldn't get any pot, so we weren't going to go. And I was all bummed out. And I think I can get you guys some, And at this time, I'm going to get it from kids in Columbus,
Yeah.
from where I lived with my mom.
Okay.
The disc course was up here, so I tell them, hey, I know somebody up there. Where, I used to live right by the course, we can get it. We can still go. And I had never done this. I'd never bought like pot for anyone.
Yeah.
At that point at all.
Like an aha moment for you?
Yeah, well, no, it was like, it's even worse than that. I take him up there and I get it. They asked me how much, and I think we'd bought an ounce at that time. It was the most I'd ever bought. Like
Yeah.
my buddies, and we would buy an ounce, and I remember it was $100. And so I told him it was $100 an ounce. And this is like, you buy these brick pot,
Right.
It's
Yep.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, they were like, they were paying more than that, I think, at the time. They kind of didn't believe me.
Oh,
And
so they were
Okay.
like,
I take it up there, we get it. We go disc golfing, day's great. And, maybe the next day or the day after, hey, dude, they asked
Can
me.
you get some more of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would quarter pound be available?
In your
And
career?
I don't know. I said, I don't know. I've never actually asked. Call the guy, ask, sure, come on over.
And then-
so, boom, I go there, get it.
And he had it.
Well, then they ask for a pound. Maybe a day or two goes by. What about a
how
pound?
much weed are they smoking? Oh, they're
And,
selling it too, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my dad.
I was like,
He
they smoke a
immediately-
lot of weed.
Yeah, he's selling weed.
Okay.
So yeah, he immediately, his buddies, they all want it. So they have about a pound. Next thing you know, I'm getting 5-10 pounds fronted.
Damn.
15 at a time. Yeah, I'm a 17-year-old kid.
Damn.
Yeah, and this,
That's
my
a-
wife now, remembers sometimes I would owe these kids in Columbus. It was Short North Posse at that time. I'd owe them money. And I would have to go up there every Friday. We would be paid.
And then are you making any money at this point too? Because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
buying it for your dad. He's selling it.
Oh
Like-
yeah, I was in high school. We were doing. I thought it was. But then it would be like every week someone would owe me $2,000-$3,000
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
robbed or something, you know, and be like, you know, I'm a 17-year-old kid now. I've got to go explain
What
to
do
these
you do?
guys.
Talk to the drug dealers and say, I don't have your money.
Because I was spending the profit, like I would go get the 10 pounds. I would do exactly how much. If everybody pays, this is what I get.
Right.
There
any
go spend the other.
Bad interactions?
And
Anything
then,
ever happened with that? Where
Not too bad. Yeah, there was a lot of people got robbed and few people got beat up minorly, but no, like nothing happened to me. Like, you know, Atira's brothers, they robbed Rashawn one time for £1 a pot at McDonald's.
Oh boy.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what's that look like? I would assume. I mean,
he
a
would-
pound is not a small amount. I'm a robbery of
Yeah, well,
that.
looking back now as a 17-year-old kid, most 17-year-old kids aren't in that spot where they're
Right.
doing that like that. But it just, to me, it just didn't seem, you know.
And what's a pound go for back in the day?
$1,200 I was paying back then.
For a pound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paying
Jesus.
$1,200 back then. And I was selling $100 an ounce to all the kids.
Okay.
And that was what I was doing.
That's cheap.
Man.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's pretty
they
good.
were tearing it up. I mean, I was able to at least every week somebody would not pay me at least $1,000.
Jesus.
I would still be able to
So
usually
what do
pay
you-
the bill.
But what do you
No.
do when someone owes you that kind of money?
Nothing, man. You find out there's nothing you can do.
You don't go blow down or anything?
You do the first time.
Yeah.
You realize eventually that as soon as you do that, you're not getting any money.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have to pay you.
Yeah.
You know, hands laid, debt paid, right?
Yeah, that's
You know,
what my old
as
thing
soon
was.
as you do something to them, now you're an asshole.
Then
They'll
you're-
have to pay you. You know, so I've learned already. You're better head not to do that. You're only screwing yourself. You're never going to get them money if you go beat them up. Never.
That's such a good point.
So yeah, if you don't, and I had somebody hit me with a tire thing one time.
Like a tire jack thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, for this is crazy story. I probably shouldn't even.
Please do.
They owed me money for £1 a pot.
Yeah.
And you know, this person always paid on time. Every week I would front it to him and he paid, and ended up putting me in prison all those years later. It doesn't make a difference. He always paid, so I knocked on the door and he answers it, and you know, he's like, "What the fuck do you want?" I'm like, well,
Wait a minute.
well, how about the $1,200, whatever it was that he owed me? And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" He's just acting real crazy. I'm like, "What?" I said, "Get the fuck out of here!" He pulls that thing out, and from behind the door, he's standing inside his door and holds it up, and I'm just like, I just thought, you know, no way,
You're not gonna hit me,
no
yeah.
way he's gonna, you know, I just never dreamed he would hit me with the thing, you know, and yeah, sure enough, he did.
Wow.
I was like, well, I'll get out of here whenever you go get the money. And
Those are
boom.
pretty heavy.
He just hit me. He just caught me right with.
You're talking about the four-way, right?
It sort of knocked me. I mean, it knocked me kind of silly.
I
You know?
bet it did.
Yeah, and I mean, so he like pushed me out into the yard, and I just got in my car and left.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like, you know, he knocked me out where I was kind of like, I think I should just leave right now and think about this more.
Damn.
Yeah, but so it doesn't really work.
So you never got your money from that guy?
No. So funny story. He called me a couple days later and paid me. He said, "Man, sorry about that. I was on acid. I didn't know what I was doing or saying." Paid me.
What the
Yeah.
fuck, man? Damn.
Okay.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Then later, wore a wire on me and put me in prison 20 or 30 years.
That's the guy.
But maybe 15 years later. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the guy.
Okay.
Okay.
That's full circle.
So you're a
Yeah, he had my total trust.
Damn.
But
okay.
that was a prime example of why not to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, true story, man.
I didn't see that coming.
Okay, so
Golly.
you're 17. You're selling pounds of marijuana.
Yeah.
You obviously upgrade. You level up at some point
the
to.
coke came, at some point I was able to get coke.
And what's that decision look like?
Someone.
Like I can make more money if I sell coke.
Yeah, it was like that's actually exactly what it looked like. You know, people think like pot's a gateway drug, but it's not that. It's that. It's just that you're at a drug dealer's house,
Yeah.
Right.
and eventually they have something
Other
else.
other
Something-
drugs.
yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
know,
what I've always said too.
It's just that
It's not.
that
It's
you
not
wanna,
smoking weed. It's that you're around the
Just
things.
environment,
that-
yeah.
Yeah. And then other things become available.
Yeah, and you know, eventually they offer you a chunk of that, you know, and you see I forget exactly how it happened now, but it went on for a long time. I remember the first time we would buy 4 8-balls at a time, and the first time we got one of them, and like we made a little bit of money and thought it was great or whatever.
Yeah.
And we snorted it. Well, then next thing you know, we're snorting this stuff all the time.
Yep.
You know, yeah, we were doing a lot. We were young.
You got 4 8-balls the first time.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
With plans on like.
Yeah, I got it under the guise. It was like, oh, here, you can sell this. Do you want to move this too?
Right.
You know, and I was, well, sure.
Okay.
You know, and that's just how it happened.
So
and I can't remember exactly, but that was how it was. We got 4 8-balls first time, and then we were getting 4 ounces before it was over.
Okay.
Of that too, and then at that time I was still 17.
okay. So did things get pretty dangerous when you start dealing in ounces of cocaine?
I don't know that it's dangerous. It's, I mean, maybe if you're in an inner city, but when you're in Newark in the 90s,
It's not
you're
much,
doing okay. Yeah, but, it got about as dangerous as it could probably get, I ended up getting in trouble for that, too.
For the coke.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, I got a trafficking charge on that.
On the
too.
cocaine?
Yeah, sold an ounce to a
Undercover?
yeah.
Damn.
How'd that happen?
That was at Atira's house, and Cindy's house.
Yeah, at Cindy Parker's house.
Yeah, Cindy Parker's house, and this person had owed me. I'd fronted him some coke. I was also at this point fronting pounds of weed and ounces of coke out around the high school
why didn't I know
town.
you as a fucking drug addict?
By this time, I had grown to where I was spotting the shit out.
Like,
Okay.
friendliest drug
well,
dealer in town.
You have to. People that do drugs don't really have enough money to buy enough drugs that they can sell some and make money off of. So if you want to make money dealing
true.
drugs, you have to front them, or you're never
never gonna.
you're never gonna move any.
So someone wore wire on you, or what?
Yeah,
you got
so,
some.
So yeah, you wore wire on me. They brought a Datsun 300 280Z or whatever it is up to that church by
A what?
You probably
What
haven't
is it?
seen this place. A Datsun 280. Oh, it was an old car.
Car, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just remember they showed up in this old car. It was a Datsun 280Z. Or whatever they are. But anyway, yeah, they brought an undercover cop. This kid, he called me on the phone. He had owed me money and didn't pay. And so, how much time had gone by, I hadn't heard from him. And, by this time, I just didn't.
You chalked it.
I'd given it. I didn't say anything. When he called, I just said, he said, hey, he wants to buy an ounce Coke. And I said,
Don't you still owe me?
yeah, I was like, well, sure, and at this time, they were $1,100, and I told him it was going to be $2,200 because he owed me for the one. And he was like, oh, no, I don't have that, but I got cash for this one. And I said, well, no, you got to pay $2,200 for either. I'm not selling you one either. And so he said, let me ask this guy. It's for another guy. So time goes by, whatever, a couple hours. They call back, says he'll pay for it. The guy says he'll pay $2,200 for 1 ounce, as long as it's good.
Red
right?
flag.
So and I'm a young kid.
Red flag.
Like, all right, come see. I didn't even nothing. I just right on. I'm like, get right down the street right now. I tell them meet me at the church right down the street from their house. And so I walk down there and I take the stuff with me and I get in the back seat of this car that they're in and. It's funny looking back on it. Immediately, I start talking to the police
cop,
officer.
straight to the cop.
You had no idea.
No, yeah, because the kid I knew, it was this kid named D. Don't even know his last name. He seemed like he handed the money back to me.
Yeah.
And I just reached right past him and handed the stuff right to
right to the cop.
Yeah, and I started telling him like, hey, like we had a conversation on the phone, like, hey, he explained to me this guy owns a body shop and he's got the money. He'll pay. He doesn't mind. He just wants to get somewhere good or whatever the story was.
Yeah.
So I'm like apologetic to the cop. Like, hey, just so you know,
just by
you
the
don't
way,
have to do that.
yeah.
Call me anytime. Next time it's half that price. Blah blah. I'm telling him all this stuff.
Just selling his soul.
yeah,
I get more weight for cheaper. Just call Nate.
Yeah, just skip this dude next time.
Man, and then
you get indicted on that?
Yeah, I did.
How soon did you get popped out? How soon did they arrest you after
it was
that?
A couple months after that.
That's when they arrested you?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Where were you at when you got arrested?
My grandparents' house.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And what's your grandparents' vibe on all this? What's their like? Do they know you're out there fucking around and selling coke? And
my grandma had found a pound of pot once at that time in my stereo cabinet in the bedroom. We had moved in with my grandma when we got kicked out of the house, or we had to leave in the middle of the night in Newark. We didn't get kicked out exactly, but the cops were coming, so my dad and I took whatever and left.
Yeah.
And we didn't move back in.
But
it's a long story. We're with my grandparents at that point.
Yeah.
And so she had found at a certain point a pound of pot in my stereo cabinet, and I think $5,000. And because I'll never forget, she said, "Well, no, it's not. It's 4,400 or 900, and whatever, yeah, and 80 or something, whatever it was." Because she came in my room and said, "What's this?"
What did you tell her?
And I just didn't. I just go, "Well, that's a pound of pot, and that's $5,000."
Damn.
No, it's not. It's 4,000 and
$4,987, Nate.
Yeah. And so eventually she gave it to my dad. We settled on, like I said, like, I owe people that. You can't just take a flush that down the toilet or something. Like, I got to give that back. And so my dad eventually talked her down.
And you got the drugs and money
then,
back.
Yeah, he got them back from her, and then we drove right down the street, and he gave them back to me.
Okay.
And we went right back to the house, put them right back in the stereo cabinet where they were.
Right where they were.
What did the arrest look like? Like when,
pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
Dude's a cop, PI, whatever. You tell him all this shit. You get indicted. Your grandparents' house. The police come.
Yeah, so there's no warning. Months go by. You don't know anything's happened. I went home that day. I thought, oh, cool, I got paid for that thing.
Yeah.
And, nothing happened. You think everything's fine. Never hear from him again for a couple months go by, and I'm at my grandparents' house, and there's a knock on the door, and I'm like doing lines in the bedroom looking out the window, and I say, like, hey, say I'm not here. Don't know who it is.
Say I'm not here.
I just say I'm not here. Yeah, like I just didn't want to deal with it right now.
Right.
And so she comes back in my bedroom. She says it was the police. And I said, what? She said, yeah, they said they want to sign some paperwork you want to sign.
Oh.
I said, I don't have any. What could that
I have
be
no
about?
business with the police.
Yeah. Well, she sent him away.
Grandma did.
Yeah, she told him I wasn't there. She said, just like I said.
And they didn't come in or anything?
Not then.
Not then.
So, but they pulled across the street, parked.
Okay.
And so I go back to the bedroom, looking out the window, and I can see them, and I'm like, I'm getting a little bit, so I'm snorting stuff, and I'm like, oh man, eventually something made me mad, and I walked out the front door, like, what are you guys doing
boy.
here? Yeah, like, or whatever it was. I went walking out the front door, and one of them jumped out of the bushes and tackled me.
But you didn't know you had a warrant, in all fairness, so you're just like, yeah, you didn't know you had a warrant for this, right? You just think
I was like annoyed that they were sitting there like, what's this paperwork you want me to talking about?
So you went out there.
Yeah, I eventually went out. Yeah, I busted walking across the porch real fast, like, what do you
want?
Yeah, and then one of them was in the yard and I didn't know it. He jumped out.
And they grabbed you?
Yeah.
So what'd you get? What'd you get for that?
So that I ended up getting out of that one.
How'd you get out of that?
That was a long story.
Like some technicality?
Technicalities, yeah.
Did you have a lawyer?
Let's just call it that. I did, and and it's a funny story because there was a possession charge along with it around the same time of an 8-ball, and the cop almost dropped an N-bomb in court, and he stopped himself.
To who?
Yeah,
the judge?
Ascatira was in the courtroom at that time.
Yeah.
And
who's he calling the N-word?
The cop was on the stand that pulled me over. And so I had the kid was black that was in the car with me when during the stop. Okay. And this is a separate stop. And this is the same kid that snitched on me.
Yeah.
This is D. It was a black kid. And so when I got pulled over, the cop in court said something along the lines of, why'd you search him? Why'd you search the car?
Yeah.
And it was something along the lines of, well, there was an...
hole.
And he stopped. And it was like, that was kind of it. Like, the judge even kind of looked at him like, what is wrong with you?
Bother.
So that's how you got off?
This was in 97. No, that wasn't it. It was an improper search and siege on that one.
But that didn't start the tone very well. It was like calling your snitch an N-word almost. Right.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the judge just was like, yeah, and I mean, I think it was kind of an illegal search too, over the pockets thing,
Yeah.
He was like, well, I heard a squishy. He was like, he was asking the cop questions about the plain feel clause, and he's like, well, if you can plainly feel it in their pocket, then what does that feel like? A bag of pot in someone's pocket. The guy was like, didn't really know, and so it was kind of like, he did a good job. Really, this guy did a good job. Man, the lawyer did a good job.
Well, that worked out.
Yeah, it's like money well spent in a lawyer.
Yeah, well, my mom did that for me. God love her. It's like she was there for me when I needed her. I know, even though she kicked me out over the pot thing, when I got in trouble, but I did tell her like it was about pot. I didn't tell her how severe it was. I kind of told her like I didn't do it.
Yeah, like wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I kind of said like, Mom, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm in trouble, and later when she found out that I did, she was pretty mad.
I bet, yeah.
What was your first introduction to prison if you got out of that?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
They they send you to CRC. You go. You're
But
sitting
how,
in the
how
how
did
do
you
you
end
get
up
there?
there?
Like, how do you get
What'd
caught?
you
Where you end
do?
up in prison?
trafficking, about 11 total charges, and the house got raided, and it was a major nightmare.
And
Why?
how-
Why did the house get raided? What happened?
Oh well, I got snitched on. Someone wore a wire on me again.
And you're selling
A
meth
second
though at
time.
this point,
Yeah,
right?
this time it had escalated. I was pretty much a career drug dealer
Okay.
at this point.
And
Okay.
you're using too, right?
Oh yeah.
Like doing, yeah. Okay, so you go from the crack or the coke somehow
Yeah,
into meth.
and then that week, like whenever I got in trouble for the coke, I was a kid, quit doing that immediately.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, never did that again.
Okay.
Yeah, just hated that stuff from that point forward.
Yeah, yeah.
So you were like, I'm gonna do a little meth now.
That came on the scene at a certain point. That was, I hate that we're on a podcast talking about this, but no, that came through my dad and his friends. At a certain time, it came along. I was maybe 21 years old or so, and they had the hookup on this stuff or whatever, and I don't know. I guess that's how I came.
What was that, the
into it.
90s? Like late 90s?
Yeah, it was back when.
So that was like when it
really
was crank.
It was like, oh yeah, and yeah, it was like the bathtub.
Yeah,
crank,
the-
and the
yep,
peanut butter
yep.
crank was around and
Yep.
all that.
Did you say peanut butter?
Yeah.
What is that?
It was just this stuff, color of peanut
Yeah.
butter.
Really?
Everybody had in Newark.
Huh.
It was a very popular anhydrous form of speed they were making, bathtub crank, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Bullshit they're making.
What is bathtub crank? How do you make it? What is that?
I think it's just a generic term for anything that any crank you're making. They were making it with matchstick heads and, anhydrous ammonia and all kinds of different
So
stuff.
just a different version of meth.
Yeah,
Like,
just anything you're making under the kitchen sink.
Okay.
Any bullshit you're making at home.
Okay.
So eventually they, somehow my dad and his friends got plugged into this ice that was coming from California.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into it. Somehow they just were plugged into a chain of this stuff, and
then
it was just coming our way, massive amounts. I don't know. It was just
Damn.
headed my way, like fast. I don't know how I really got into it other than that. It just seemed like it was everywhere for us.
And is this like, is there a market at this point back then for
Just
meth?
in this little group, it seemed like
Yeah.
there was. It was a small, tight knit market, but it was there.
So you got into selling.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and by a certain point, it got out of control.
Okay.
But back then, yeah, I got into selling it a little bit, but it didn't get until my dad passed away when I was in my mid 20s, and I didn't get into really selling it majorly until my late 20s. It was shortly in the years after he died. Some of his friends would come around, and they were still my friends, and they were real nice to me when he passed. They always come stayed in touch and things, but. And just through them, started selling it to them and getting it from one of them again. And I don't know, got involved with one of them. We started getting it, and it was real hard to come by. And MySpace was a new thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was new out. And somebody on MySpace was complaining. One of our customers was complaining about the price. It
On
was real hard-
MySpace?
On MySpace. Huh?
No, one of our customers was complaining about the price to us. Right?
Oh, okay.
And we're sourcing however we can at this time. It's hard to get.
Yeah.
We're finding ice where we can, but it's hard to get real expensive. People are complaining.
Yeah.
And it's been like this for a while. And so eventually one of our customers said to us, "Oh, this is my buddy on my I was talking to my buddy in Florida who I went to high school with. He says it's everywhere down there and it's real cheap." And on MySpace, right? She says this.
Reputable.
And so he tells me, yeah. She says, I said, well, tell her we'll take it. What I'll take it right now. And just thinking it was bull crap.
Yeah, yeah.
Turned out no. The guy said, yeah, come on down and buy it. And so we rounded up. I think it was $3,000 at that time. We were going to go down and buy a quarter pound of speed off this person.
In Florida?
Yeah. And yeah. So we go down there, and this lady agreed. Our understanding was that she was going to go with us, but when we got there, this guy was going to come to the hotel room and bring the stuff over. And so yeah, we take this lady down there. We drive down there. We go get a hotel somewhere near Orlando, and we're waiting. And she says, yeah, he says he doesn't want to meet you guys now. After all, I'm gonna have to go there.
Oh, but
You
your
guys will have to
$3,000.
wait here. Which we ended up saying, okay, what are you going to do? You're already down there.
Yeah.
And so we gave her the money. She leaves, says it's 10 minutes away, and she'd be right back in 20 minutes. And 3 hours later, it's every other deal like that.
Yeah.
We're in this hotel room panicking, thinking the cops are coming, and all this stuff. And then she came back.
With the drugs?
Oh yeah, and everything was fine. Yeah, so we start doing this, And eventually it hit a point where she like didn't have time to go this time. You know, like we come back, sell it, it's great stuff, everybody's happy, stuff's gone as soon as it's back.
We gotta
Like,
go get more.
Yeah, we gotta go again. So, you know, she's like the second and third time able to do it, but then like
She's like, I
can't
ain't
keep
fucking with you
riding
no
down
more.
there till tomorrow or the next day, and it just wasn't working. So eventually we got it to where we could go ourselves.
Yeah.
And meet this guy.
So in your peak, what do you like? What's the weight you're moving?
Oh, just you never really get more than a pound at a time of that stuff.
Okay, so you're just yeah.
Yeah, but that's quite a bit of that.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
because it's not, you know, a little bit goes a lot longer of a way, you know.
Oh yeah. And how do you end up getting caught?
Got the kid that hit me with the tire iron wore wire on me.
Okay, so he's now
Wires
buying.
and tires.
You
man,
were
he's
selling.
specialties.
You were selling him shit, or
I was bought it to him again. He was a faithful customer. He even hit me over the head and came back and paid me
Came
later.
back and paid you
So
later.
I fully trusted him.
okay.
I had a real good system hookup going, and so I would spot him an ounce he would pay a couple days later, and these were $2,200 a piece at this time.
Man.
For an ounce, and he would pay, and I'd give him another one. And we'd just keep doing that.
And one time he wore a wire, and off to prison you go.
Yeah, one time he called me and said, "Hey, he's got the money up front,"
Okay.
and I didn't think a single thing about it. And but leading up to that, he had lost an ounce. He called me and said he had to throw it off of his four-wheeler. The cops got behind him, and he went to jail. And he told me he had to throw the stuff, and I fully trusted him. And I can't remember what happened. I bonded him out, gave him another one. Whatever happened,
You
I went and
bonded
gave
him
more.
out?
Yeah, gave him more. Told him told him like don't worry about it. Yeah, I was on a pretty good roll this time.
Wow. Okay.
And I was told him like, you know, I forget what happened now. I gave him another one, told him like, you know, no sweat, you know, and it was after that he did this. So tells me he's got the money ahead of time. I mean, within a couple weeks after that. And I just said, oh, okay, no problem. And then the second thing that was weird, looking back now, is he said, meet me down the street. There was a golf pro shop down the street from his house, a group of little stores. And we never did that either.
Never
I always
did
went
that.
to his house. And so I did that. Okay, sure. And I've got my uncle driving me. And so we meet them there. And he comes up to the car and he sets the stuff. He drops the money in. And I had the speed sitting in the door handle here on that little armrest.
Mm-hmm.
And we had done this transaction so many times that I didn't say a word. I just nodded at it.
yeah.
And he kind of was trying to pretend like he was being slick by dropping the money. I know now that he was wearing a wire.
Just want you to
and
talk.
Needed me
say
to,
something.
we needed
Right.
to say something.
Right.
Well, I didn't. Like my uncles were talking about firewood, and I'm just running my mouth like I do. And, we drive on. Well, they don't get what they need on this tape. Now they have to stop us.
Oh man.
So we're driving on down the street smoking a joint, and a cop goes by the other way, does a U-ey and pulls us over.
And do you have any more ice on you in the car at the time?
I think we did. I can't remember now. I know we had the $2,200 that he just gave me.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had to get that back. It
Right.
was marked.
Right.
And so they were more concerned about getting that. So they kind of said, like, is there anything in the car? And I said, like, well, there's $2,200 there in the door. I just sold a motorcycle to this guy. And 'cause they had asked us, were we in the parking lot? Were we in the parking lot down there that someone had called and reported a suspicious vehicle activity? That's
Right,
why they stopped
sure.
us. And I said, yeah, well, that was us. I was selling a motorcycle to that guy. And they said, like, we're going to take this money for now. And, you write me a receipt or prove to me. You just call us up. We'll give it back to you. Sort this all out. And so then I don't think they searched the car beyond that. I'm pretty sure they probably knew that there was drugs in it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I don't think they cared
Right.
at that time that we drove away. And then they raided my house a few months later. I was sitting on the bed with the dog, and I heard a real loud knock at the door. And I looked out the window like that. It was just surrounded. There was everything. There was this vehicle that said code on the side. It looked like a UPS truck. And that's Central Ohio Drug Enforcement.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
There was a lot of other like there was like the Madison Township. I was living on No Bigsby and Refugee.
Oh, God.
Yeah, up there. But on the good side, on the good part,
Yeah.
right in the canal line. And so I had Madison Township there, Franklin County, and then the sale had happened in Licking County.
So Licking County was there too.
Licking County is the original reason, and then now they're in the house. There's there's pot plants. There's pounds of there's just who knows stuff's adding up. There's a gun. There's just I don't
So
even know.
you're shit out of luck all the way around.
Yeah, well, yeah. I looked out the window and I saw that stuff, and I just laid right back down. I was like, oh, fuck it.
Okay.
I just go,
nothing.
maybe they'll go away.
Yeah,
Nothing you
maybe
can
they'll
do.
go
It
away.
kept on knocking
Right.
again. I was like, yeah, maybe there's nothing, and then boom, the door just blew in.
You know you're going to jail at that
And
point.
I never moved from the bed. And then I heard boom, boom, them running up the stairs, and I never moved from the bed. And then my bedroom door flew in, and they maced my dog. I'll never forget.
Maced the dog?
Yeah, it was a puppy too. It was a Doberman. But anyway, yeah, and they said don't move, and I didn't. And then one of them hit me on the head with this thing, and I'll never forget. Hit me in both ears. Hit me in the back of the head with this thing. And hit me in both fucking ears. It was weird.
So do you know you're fucked at this point?
Yeah, well, then they like drug me downstairs, set me on the couch, and they're telling me like, we can make Mr. Burchard, we can make this all go away.
Oh,
Or
like they
if
want
you
you to
flip.
roll.
Yeah, and I'm like, make what go away, and they're like, well, we know what's been going on around here. Long story short, they want me to, turn
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And I'm saying like I don't know what you're talking about, and they're showing me pictures of myself, and they're telling me that they know what I've been doing, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know, that looks a lot like me.
Yeah,
but,
sir.
don't
He's a
know.
good-looking guy, but
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. That's something you wouldn't believe how mad someone will get too when they're showing you're holding a picture of you up to you,
and you're like,
and you're telling them that's not you.
I don't see
It
the resemblance.
It's like a funny little spot to be in. And you have to hold your ground. Because once you're
Man.
that far down the road, it's like, I'm not backing down now.
yeah, you can't. Yeah. You're too deep in the lie.
Yeah, like, I'll look even stupider.
So what do you get hit with all together? What's the charges looking like?
When it came in, there was 11. Felony 1, trafficking was first one.
Okay.
And that was an ounce.
An ounce? Damn.
That I had sold to dude wearing a wire.
Okay.
And then, whatever was at the house just started adding up to, I don't even remember. There was 11 felonies laying around the ground
Damn.
of various types. But, like, the gun was something I didn't even, like, I traded an 8-ball to someone.
And just, I got it.
Threw it under the bed, forgot about it. Maybe there might have been, like, some fucking pills or something in the drawer. I traded someone, thought I'll give those away later, or whatever. And they're just things are just there you forget about.
Yeah.
Look at this right here. Another felonies. They're just adding up.
Ooh.
And they're trying to tell you they're going to give you 36 years and all this stuff.
So you've been in trouble a couple times up to this point. You're going away for a while.
Oh, yeah.
You know
I
you're
knew
going-
exactly what
yeah.
was going on this time.
All
So I
right.
just stuck to my guns, and I knew they'd have to let me go, and then they'd have to officially charge me.
Yeah.
So like they were like, well, I just kept telling them that this isn't me. And they were like, they let me walk out of there with no shoes on. I called my uncle. I'm like,
Walk out of where? The jail?
the Madison. No, they took me down. Yeah, the jail. Yeah, they took me down to the Madison police station.
With all this shit in your place.
Yeah.
You walk out
So
the
I had
door.
it all set up pretty tight, man. Nothing, everything, nothing was in my name.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a rental. Yeah, nothing was. Yeah, there was no really. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't
just
live
stay
there.
here.
That guy looks a lot like me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking. That is not my house. That's not my motorcycle in the drive. My car's in the driveway. Everything. And at this point, I was doing well. I went in and bought a brand new motorcycle, paid for the cash, and right off the showroom floor.
Wow.
And I was doing well. And it was just if I was smart, I could have been. I would have quit.
Yeah. Quit while you're ahead.
If I could have been smart about it, but I just, you don't think like that.
No. So
But in any event, eventually they had to let me walk out of there because I just kept telling them.
No.
So what happened? You got charged?
Yeah, so then they
So
have
you
to,
gotta-
the next day it was in the paper, I was on the run, they have to go officially charge you.
Okay.
So it turns out if they are going to ask you to roll over on someone, they have to already. That's kind of a gray area with the law for them. They're not really allowed to it's not really allowed to say, okay, well, this person was selling all this stuff.
Yeah.
We're just going to let him go because he told us this, or this. Really, that's kind of not okay either.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's a gray area for them to ask me, hey, if you'll tell me this, I won't charge you with this.
But you didn't roll, right?
Right. So they have got a certain window. So they have to kind of roll the dice and ask themselves. They thought for sure I was going to.
Yeah.
They thought 1,000% I would say yes right now. And they had to kind of ask ourselves, hey, if they don't officially go to a grand jury and file these charges, they can't take them back once they go file them. So they got to kind of ask you first, hey, do you want to snitch?
Right.
Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So during that little window, they got to be pretty sure that you're going to say yes, or they'll just go to a grand jury and file the charges. And once they do that, they can't take them back. So they
Okay.
can't come and tell you, hey, I'm going to charge
I'm gonna
you.
let-
with
yeah,
it,
yeah.
Take
I see
it
what you're
away.
saying,
So
yeah.
they're kind of
So
in
they
a
got
weird
that-
little pocket.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
And and that's so I knew they would have to let me walk out if I just sat there. It was already after 5 o'clock. They would never be able to get that done until the next day.
That's
And
pretty brilliant.
and it was in like the next day after that newspaper, like all these charges, Nathan Burchard. And I was on the run, and a couple weeks later they caught me.
Damn.
Yeah, they surrounded the place where I'm living now with a
Yeah, I remember you telling me that story.
I'm currently living back in that same place with my wife and my daughter.
Yeah.
Love that. That's
Yeah,
good.
it was incredible. Last time I was there, I jumped out that window and took off running down the lake from the cops.
And it's kind of a sweet spot to be on the run at because, like, so it's kind of off the road, off the beaten path a little bit, but you can look out and see the road from far away. So it's kind of like if you're on the run, that's the spot to be.
Yeah, I was on it, man. It was
Yeah,
a
that's
perfect
the
place.
spot to be.
Yeah, but they snuck up on me anyway.
So what was prison like?
Yeah, but did you cop a plea?
Yeah, I ended up. They ended up copping a plea, I guess. Yeah, they ended up getting 6 years out of it all.
Okay.
They whittled it down, to 6 years. A lot of that stuff, the mandatory minimums carried mandatory.
Yeah.
Like the felony one, the minimum was 5 years they could give me, so I had to get that.
Yeah.
And there was no option for early release. Like some of that could carry, like you couldn't get out early on any of it or any of that shit.
So you're looking at 6 now, right?
And then the other year came from Franklin County. I was in jail up there for a long time waiting for the charges from the raid to come down. Because Licking County only had me on the trafficking.
Okay.
And then it was Franklin County with all the stuff from the house.
Jesus.
So they actually gave the grow lights and shit back to my sister when I was in prison. I kept hounding them about that. Like, it's not illegal to take those.
Yeah,
They never charged me with anything over it. And,
Wow, okay.
Yeah, they like the guy, the Columbus cop was cool. He said, like, he was like, Nate, he was like, if Licking County hadn't have called me, I wouldn't even have bothered you. He said to me, he was, I really don't care about that pot unless you got 200 pounds.
So you're like, all right, so you're going to prison for 6 years now.
Yeah, I guess it kind of doesn't seem real, though, to you until they,
Till you get there.
Yeah, really when you're in court, like, you still kind of think, like,
I got a shot.
yeah, you're kind of entertaining the thought that,
Maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something they're going to tell me, hey, you know what, this is your lucky day, kid. You've done enough time now. You've seen the error of your ways. You can go home.
So what's prison like?
But,
What's prison about, man?
Well, I'll tell you, if you can't learn from that, you can't learn from anything.
Prison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. It's a learning experience. But as a whole, I think it's just a waste of everybody's time for the most part. It's basically a storage locker
Yeah.
for idiots.
Well, there's no rehabilitation going on.
No, there's not. The programs that they tell you are there aren't there, and they might take 5 people a year to get that program, and they're going to hand select those 5 how they like.
Right.
It might look like if you're watching TV or reading the paper, you have a shot. You're going to get in there. You're going to learn these skills. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And even if you do, you're going to get out and you still have 11 felonies. So best of luck to you.
Good
son.
luck getting a job.
But it's not an easy grind to do.
So when you go in there, you go and then you go to you said
so
Lebanon, right?
So I go to CRC first, and which is the holding
Holding place
about
before you go to
CRC.
your parent institution.
Yeah, and they plan where they go. They tell me I'm going to go to. They assigned me an institution. It was a pretty decent one, and I can't remember what it was now, but they assigned me a certain prison from there, and I'm
You're
just
like,
waiting
cool.
to ride up to there. Yep, and they're gonna, they tell me I'm going to this place, and I'm, about a couple weeks the bus will take you there, and between that time I was having a little fun with the kite box, and I.
What's that?
So, which is the thing you could fill out.
If you have a complaint or a suggestion or whatever.
Suggestion even.
Yeah.
You need to see the nurse, anything you want, you can say, hey, it's communication between the inmates and the staff. That's how you communicate with them. With these little kites, you write your name and number on it, what you need to talk about or who you need to talk to, nurse, doctor, whatever, put in this box. They're supposed to check these daily and get back with you. And so I see the 2 guards that were in the pod I was in. They were just like, just real shit bags. They truly were. And they purposefully were trying to be rude to guys there to get you prepared for the next prison and all that. And I understand the concept behind it. But, we're also grown adults here. There's a certain point where it went too far, I felt.
Sure.
And anyway, long story short, they don't let you look out the windows. You can't even look out the windows, which I thought was kind of stupid.
On your door, right?
On your door.
Yeah.
You're locked in the room. You can't look out the window on the door. You can look out the outside window, but not into the prison. So I'm looking out the window. I see they're listening to Britney Spears playing cards and singing along. It's 2 guards, and their names were Kirk and Murphy. So I took one of those forms. I wrote, "Dear Kirk, would you go to the dance at the officers club with me? Please check 1." I wrote yes or no boxes. Love, Murphy.
Love Murphy.
And I folded it up and put it in there. Wrote Smith 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on it so that they would unfold it and read it. And because I know they know if they see a blank one, they just toss it.
Yeah.
And so long story short, it was a couple of days later we were going to chow, and in the Sally Port there's 2 sets of doors. There's a little area between. They tell me, "Hey, Burchard, go stand up, face that wall." I said, okay, which they did this periodically, normally, so I do that. And I put my hands on the wall, and once everyone had passed through, the door closed, and they just took off.
They started beating the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah, big time. And, they got me down on the ground. They were beating me real smartly all over the legs and back and stuff.
And they do that so people can't see.
Yeah, they waited till everyone was through, then closed that second door. They did it. It's an area of 2 doors. You go through a set of doors.
But when they're hitting you, they're intentionally hitting you in places where it's not visible to
Yeah.
other people.
Oh yeah, all over the back. Yep, and when it's just me and them in that little area, they waited till everyone else passed through, closed the door behind them, and then did that. They drug me out, and anyone that was in the windows, they cleared that all first. Told everyone to get in the windows to get out. They were taking down names, blah blah blah. You're gonna get tickets.
Yeah.
Then they drugged me up to the hole.
Damn.
How long did you stay in the hole for?
And about 6 months in total.
What's the hole like?
And,
Yeah, what's the hole like, bud? I've never been there.
oh God, it's what you can imagine.
It's just a bed and a toilet. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, it's just your seal bed in there,
Yep.
and they slide you the food through the slot. That's it. They take you to the shower in cuffs.
So that's 23-hour lockdown.
You can go outside and stand in a little cage that's about the size of you. It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
phone booth. You can kind of stand.
And
in
you did
that.
6 months there. What's that do to your head?
Nothing. Look at me.
I'm fine.
Easy.
I'm the smartest guy I know.
Yeah, you didn't go
Yeah.
fucking nuts in there?
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe you did. You
Yeah,
just
I
didn't
might
know.
have. I might have. I'm not sure.
Man.
But I mean, eventually you just deal with it, man. You're just in there. It's just you in that little room. Eventually, you just, the mice come through. You save a couple carrots.
Yeah.
Whatever. You drop them on the floor and you just watch them walk by a couple times.
Yeah.
Maybe you get some mail. Maybe you get some mail from your grandma and mom.
And that's it. That's life.
Yeah,
Like,
you trade a few stamps down the line for stuff you can't use right now. They would bring a book card around every so often. You could get a book, maybe not very often, but you could get once in a while get a book, I suppose, and maybe a Western, not very good, but they would bring a book card around, I suppose, every week maybe. And they took you to the shower in cuffs and shackles, and that was it. The food came through the slot.
Damn, bud.
That's it. You're there. And
So those two officers beat the shit out of you. So not only they beat the shit out of you, but they also fuck the rest of your 6-year ride out, right? Because they
Yes. So I get to they drag me to the hole, and the next day they take you to court. Their version of RIB court in their Rules Infraction Board, and you go in there, and there's a white shirt that reads your ticket off, and he reads off. It says, Mr. Burchard was walking through the Sally Port. He wadded up his a piece of paper, threw it at me. When I ducked to avoid it, he took a swing, and I was forced to use my nightstick and use excessive force on him, and blah, 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 whatever the ticket went on from there.
whatever justified their actions.
Yeah, I was just, from there, it was just like, and he looked at me, he said, what do you have to say about that? And I said, none of that happened. And he said, what do you say happened? And I said, they told me to turn around and started beating me up and took me to the hole. He said, that doesn't sound right. Guilty, and that's it.
Guilty.
Yeah, that was exactly the words he said. That
Sounds
does
about
not
right.
sound right.
And then so that changed your security level now.
So now I'm a 3B.
So you were what, a
maximum.
1, 2 before?
I was still a 3 because
Okay.
so there was a gun being under the bed
Yeah.
and there was cash.
Okay.
So, there's things you just can't know till you know them. What you ever don't want to ever do is have money, a gun, and drugs all at the same place.
Yeah.
At the same time, if it's more than a certain amount.
Yeah.
So it triggers a whole series of bullshit.
Yeah.
Now I'm.
They think you're like a dangerous fucking mobster.
Felony 1
Yeah.
aggravated.
Damn, aggravated.
Felony 1 aggravated trafficking. So that automatically now I'm a maximum security inmate.
Yeah.
Did you have issues with other inmates at any point during your time in maximum security?
Because that's a
I
different
mean,
way
you
of
said
life.
the cops fucked with you, the guards.
Yeah.
How
you
are
know,
the inmates? What's that look like?
You know, it's a different animal for sure. When I got to Ross, the time the people were. Oh, there's a different attitude for sure. The people at Lebanon, you had a lot of people that were there for life. They knew it. There was an attitude set into their brain that, you know, most people knew they weren't going home, or if they are, it's not for a very long time. So they're living their life in there.
So they don't
and
give
that's
a
all
shit.
They can see.
Yeah, they don't give a shit
And,
about rules.
Not really, man. But you know, for the most part, it's just like anywhere else. It's just a lot of crap, a lot of talk. People are all talk. You know, I found like as it went on down the line that, you know, when you pull people's card, they don't really want to. They know they're in just as much trouble. They're going to the hole just as same as you are. So, you know, you're better ahead to just not let them get to you. You know, you pull their hoe card and nobody ever really bothers you. They just say they're going to.
And that's like, that's like a good, like, as long as you don't really necessarily have to fight in prison. It's just like, say you're willing. That you will fight.
Yeah.
And that's usually like, sometimes that'll be good enough.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Do you have any situations like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had to fight several times. Lebanon was it was pretty tough. But,
for what?
It wasn't bad.
What would cause
bad fights at all.
What would cause it?
Yeah, like dumb politics type stuff.
Yeah, you know, it just like, for example, one of the things, there was a blind guy, and he was reading. I was reading him his mail, thinking I'm being a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he owed some money out. And he had told these people that his wife had sent it in this particular letter that I'd read him, and they didn't. And so he had told them that, and so they kind of came to me, like asked me, "Hey, what'd that letter say?" You know, and I like didn't want to tell them.
Yeah.
And you know, so that ended up causing one of the situations was that. And,
okay.
Me and this guy like fought. And, you know, nobody got hurt. It was over quick, and that was it. You know, it was stupid.
So you're just guilty by association? Or?
And then, no, like he was like, felt that he'd been there longer than me, and I had to tell him, I had to tell him because he was owed money. And, you know, so long story short, I was like, oh, listen, I don't know what was in that letter. I can't remember, you know, and I didn't really know what to say. And I wanted to go talk to this other guy first and ask him.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he owed the money or anything. I felt like, who am I going to get in trouble here? I'm going to get one person in trouble either way, you know.
And you don't talk in prison.
Yeah, like, I didn't know, because I didn't know this dude owed money. You know, I didn't know he'd been telling people that, oh, yeah, my wife sent that in that last letter. I'm going to get you on store day. You know, they're coming to me like, yeah, it was in there, right? What'd that letter say? And I didn't really know. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't really know. And so anyway, that's one. Another one, my cellie, he got, somehow he owed some money, and he had a big store list coming, and they're gonna rob him, and they come in the cell there, and I'm in there.
Who's coming in the cell?
So,
whoever he owes.
Heartless felon, I think it was heartless
okay.
felon. He was involved. He was from Cleveland. He was a young kid from Cleveland, and he was a nice kid too. I really liked him. He was young. And, you know, this kid came in the cell, and I can't remember his name now, but, you know, and I was in there, and he throws the bag to, I don't remember this other kid's name now, but, long story short, throws the bag to my cellie, and tells him pack that up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, man, listen, this is my cellie, you can't do that.
Yeah.
In here. And, so my cellie takes off on this guy, punches him. Right, and so they get into it. Long story short, I don't know how I got involved now, but I had to like push this guy out of the room or whatever happened.
Yeah.
You know, and now he comes back, wants to fight me.
Oh man,
And,
he didn't come back with his
so like,
felon friends
what
or
are we
what?
talking about here? Like, yeah. So he's like keeps coming back, like, no, we're gonna fight. And I'm like, this just the whole thing was the stupidest you can imagine. I'm like, are you sure? Like, doesn't make any sense. You know, but he was very insistent upon it, and so we agreed to fight in the cell. I'm gonna fight him in my cell.
At least you got the opportunity to just have like a one-on-one fight
Getting a jump by
with
his
no
friends.
fucking bullshit.
That's the only way I agreed to it. I told him he had to
Well,
come
that's
in with
what
door
I'm saying.
closed.
Because like that's that's kind of I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Like,
if you want to come in and fight, it's going to be me.
It's
alone.
when people say that shit and then 5 people jump
Yeah.
in that it becomes bullshit.
You got to shut the door, man.
Yep.
You can shut the door. Your boy can stand outside. You're going to have to trust me.
Yep.
You know, and that's it. I knew this robbery was going to happen. I had been telling him, like, hey, man, like, watch out for this. Like,
Yeah, it's coming.
Talking to the wrong people, like, you know, like I could just see they were going to do this to him. Like he had been putting money on someone's books to go to this. Something weird like that had been happening too. And so there was a store list for someone else supposed to be in that cell too.
Oh man.
And so that was giving him reason to come in. And so I'd been telling them kind of like to watch out for this, and then and I was just happened to be in there when the kid came in, and now I was in it too. He wanted to come back, wanted to fight me next.
So you said he's a convicted felon, right?
Yeah, I think he was heartless felon.
Heartless felon, okay.
Who were relatively new at that time, and they were getting him out of certain prisons. They they would either beat him up and get him off the yard.
Yeah.
They would beat him all up and just ride him out, or the prison itself was kind of trying to keep them together. They were a small prison gang, and there wasn't really.
So when you're in prison, like you're doing
zero respect for me. I mean, all of them.
I think the gangs are retarded.
Yeah.
Like I think their philosophies are bullshit. Like
yeah, it's a joke.
It's,
you're in Ohio in prison. You're not in a gang. Like whatever gang you think you're in in Ohio and you're in prison.
Yeah,
So,
it's very interesting how everything changes when you. It's like caveman shit.
it really is.
Like. It's so different in prison. Like you go into those 4 fucking walls, and all the rules of life change completely.
Completely new set of rules.
It's archaic, like basic survival.
yeah, people they live by the dumbest codes in there too. And they take
Yeah.
them so serious.
So you never got approached by anybody when you're in there? Because you're in there for a little bit of a time.
Oh yeah. Like right off the bat, like at Leb, the ABs had been were real nice to me, and my cellie was a pretty cool guy. His name was Dan Danko, and he had murdered someone. He was on the west side of Columbus.
He was in there for life.
And he's about my age, and he even looked kind of like he was like a shaved head, kind of a big guy, but pretty nice guy, pretty innocent, really. He
Except for the murder.
except for the murder.
Minus the murder.
So I found myself saying this a lot. One of my friends from the street that I ended up in there with got out, murdered his girlfriend and their mom. Yeah, and went right back in. Yeah, since that time it happened, I got out.
So
he
while
got out
you're
a couple months later, and then murdered these people a couple months later.
Now
and
he's back.
Right back.
Damn.
And I was in there discussing with him how he couldn't wait to get out, go live with this girl, and she had all
Change
these
his
drugs. She was
life,
going to hook
the
him up.
whole thing.
No, he was planning on. She was going to hook him up all these
All right,
drugs.
I can
yeah.
respect that. At least
yeah,
he was
they-
honest.
Yeah, he was. Oh, no, that's what I always said. Like Travis wasn't stupid. We were all surprised. Like he was the last guy I thought was.
Did
gonna
you
go
run
there.
with any gangs in prison? I mean, you kind of have to in a sense.
Yeah, I was cool with them all, man. I didn't run with any of them. I rolled solo, but
You're
I
just-
had friends in everyone.
Yeah.
You know, my trick was to buy something from
What's the
Everybody.
once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy a cigarette from each gang here and there. You know, make sure you spend a little money with everybody.
What's the most I guess memorable moment from prison, good, bad, whatever? What's something that sticks out to you that
Yeah,
you'll
I mean,
never forget?
You know, I mean, I'd have to say getting there initially, the worst thing about it is, you know, when I first got to Lebanon, it was so old and daunting. Like, and, you know, I was by far, you know, just, you could tell I was the freshest person there, you know, it was pretty obvious. So, you know, what stuck out to me the most was how close quarters, how many people in such a small area, and how we all, you know, it was just immense at first.
Yeah.
Is it like a dorm with bunks or what?
It's 3 stories, and Lebanon just got tables in the center.
So it's old
and
school
the showers
prison.
are right there in the front by the desk. There's
Yeah.
3 shower heads by the CO's desk. And so you have to stand, they let you out of your cell, and you stand in line for the shower. They let 3 people out at a time for the shower, 3 in, 3 out. And the next 2 or 3 or whatever are standing there in line. So it's a whole like game they're playing on floors 2 and 3 with the COs. If they can get the next 2 people standing in line to stand in front of the shower, whatever's happening, you know, maybe it's just smoking a cigarette or what the fuck ever, you know, who knows what. But, you know, so that was a whole, like, the showers, like, that fucked me up first. Like, everyone's just all inside this thing, and you had to go take a shower right by the CO's
You had
desk
been to jail
and wait in
a
line.
bunch of times before you did this 6 years,
Yeah,
right? So at least
yeah,
you
this
kind of knew
was-
what to expect.
Absolutely. And the shower setup just threw me for a loop at Lebanon. I couldn't believe it. Like,
And you're
you had to
showering with
carry your
another
towel out
dude.
there and wait in line in front of the CO's desk and in front of everybody looking out their door.
That was like one of the things that you're like, this
is
fucking
fucking weird.
sucks.
Yeah, I don't mind the prison shower. You know, we all have to go in the shower. Like, fine, no problem. You know, I can deal with that. I've done
But
that
you're
before.
with like
This
2 other
was-
dudes while you're showering?
Yeah, there's only 3 people in the shower, and it's right by the desk out in the day room.
Yeah.
The shower's in the day room.
So it's wide open, everything
Yeah, everyone
visible.
sees it. The whole
Okay.
everyone can watch it. Everyone that's in the day room can see it. It's right in there.
So how is that not weird?
So,
Like
because
washing
there
your
have
balls.
been
I don't
so
even
many
like.
incidents, apparently.
I don't want to wash my balls
Yeah, no,
or
it's a
take a shower with
crazy
my
setup.
wife.
It's a weirdest setup you can think about.
So what do you do in
And
there?
so
Like,
the 3 people are each. There's 1 man under each shower head, and there's 3 people waiting in line. When one guy comes out, the next person can go in. They have to go back to their cell. You're allowed to wait there with your towel and your stuff. You have to have your shower shoes on to wait in line. The COs will let one person out. When they let one person back in their cell, they'll let another one out to wait in line. Wow. It's a weird system.
Is there any eye
to get in the
contact?
shower, so you have to put a thing in your door that says you want to take a shower.
Yeah.
You know? Just
yeah,
like the
so
shit
like
sign.
in the shower, is there any eye contact, or is everybody like looking forward? Like,
you know, there is, I suppose. I don't know, some people are just in there kicking, like these guys that are in there talking. They're like, it's nothing. Like, I was nervous at first, like, oh my god, this is not a typical jail shower. You know, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, there's just big dudes, it's just dick out, fucking looking at, talking like it's nothing, just opening it up. Oh man, I was like, you know, they've been doing this like that every day for about 20 years, and you know, I don't realize that. I'm like, this is fucking wild.
This is weird, right?
Yeah. You know, I got the towel and I'm looking backwards down the lane. What the fuck am I next? I hope I'm not next.
What prompted the change after the 6 years? Because not everybody does time like that and gets out and changes their life.
I mean, if you can't learn from 6 years in there, you're not going to learn from anywhere, you know.
But unfortunately, most people don't. I mean, statistically speaking, most people do not.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say it, but you're absolutely right about that. And I think it's because a lot of them, they get in there and they buy into that mentality immediately. They join the gang, you know, and they buy into it, and it becomes, you never left the street. Some people even have a better life in there than they do on the street.
I legitimately believe that, you know, I was a couple of different actions away from going to prison, and I think that would have changed the entire course of my life. Like, I really think, I mean, I could have come out with some fucking sprayed up for no fucking reason.
I mean, next thing you know, boom, it's the gavel coming down on you.
Yeah, exactly. So what's life like today? How did you do it? When did you decide I'm going to set things straight? I mean, you went through a lot of shit.
Yeah, you know, and I had previously I'd had a triple bypass surgery. I had a massive heart attack
prior to prison.
Yeah, 30 years old. A massive
drug induced.
Heart attack. No, it was a hereditary
really?
condition.
Unfortunately, not.
It was. I couldn't believe it. I woke up in the hospital and I'm like telling the doctor all this shit. I'm like, oh my god, this is all these drugs. He's like, let me stop you right there. He's like, first of all, you know, he's like, crystal meth won't clog your arteries. He's like,
that's funny.
He said, if anything, that probably kept your blood thinning up.
Yeah, if anything, it could have saved your life.
Kept you alive long enough to get you here.
Jesus Christ.
My arteries had been clogged. He said you really couldn't have ate that much pizza by then. He said, you know, not that it did you any favors, but long run, it wasn't the cause of it at all. It was just an unfortunate thing. So, you know, that set me even in more high gear. You know, I got right out, and then I started dealing more drugs even faster. So I thought, I got to make more money. I'm going to die.
Right.
What's going to happen, you know? And that was an easy attitude to get caught in, and when you're dealing drugs, because you just want to go along for the ride anyway, and everyone's on for the party. So any excuse to party harder, longer, we're going to take.
It's
even if it's somebody's dying, let's do it. You
know, when you were towards the end of your prison stint, did you start like planning for things when you got out? Were you like, I'm gonna fucking do something different, or were you just kind of doing time?
No, you know,
programs.
You know, I did AA for a while. And I got kicked out of the prison AA too. I always get kicked out of it.
How? Why?
Asked too many questions. The guy that hosted it just annoyed me. Like, his name was T-Bone. He was a murderer from the Columbus. Murdered a couple people, and he would every week. Yeah, and he would come in there and talk about how when he's like changing his life, and when he gets out, I just think, dude,
I know the type very, well.
Like, are we all supposed to entertain the idea that you're going to go home and change your life, and that's going to help us do it?
Yeah,
I'm out.
You know, like you said, it's those guys that have a better life in prison. They can be something in there, and so by running a program like that, that's exactly what it is.
In there.
And I feel bad about taking
because
that
they're not
from
shit on the street.
I shouldn't really be like that, but it just annoyed me every week. He would think he was going home, and I don't know why that bothered me so bad. I think, bro, you killed a couple people. Like, you got to stay here, man.
You're not
leaving.
This is your home.
A friend of mine from the street that killed his dad, Rocky. I ended up cellies before I went home. I moved into his cell to leave him all my stuff. A kid from Newark that I knew from the street had killed his dad, and we were in Ross together. And so I thought I'm going to move in with a homie for my last few months. I'll leave him my TV and all my stuff, you know. And it was a buddy of mine, so I move in over there, and I did pin him down at night a few times, like on some details about it, like because he would be real mad all the time about having to be in prison. He didn't think that he should have to be there, and that would irritate me too.
He murdered somebody, and
his own dad, yeah.
Yeah, and then thought like, I don't deserve to be here.
Oh, he would bitch about it all the time. He'd be reading me bullshit. I'm like, Rock. I'm like, so one night, just like, hey, Rock. I'm like, you know, you killed your dad with a brick, right?
Oh man.
You know, and he's like, well, he starts going this way. I said, well, what happened? So he started breaking it down for me. He said they were in a fight, which they did often. and they fist fought often. And he said he picked up the brick, and he never thought it was going to kill him, which I believe that he did. I do believe that he didn't think it was going to kill him, but it was a brick, and you hit him in the head with it. You had to think it was going to hurt him.
Yeah, it's not gonna give him a black eye.
I asked him, like, well, he's like, so then I said, well, then what? He said, well, he wasn't getting up. I said, well, what did you do? He said, poof, I did what anybody else would do.
Hit him again.
I grabbed a tarp. He had some sort of a tarp there. He rolled him up in this thing, drug him out back on. He had a pile of burnable drywall. They were remodeling this house. Drug him, put him on that, and left him there, and started driving around town calling his girlfriend until he got a phone harassment charge.
So what is
they
that?
They got him on phone harassment and found the body at his house.
What is that like having a murderer as a bunkie?
So this was someone I knew beforehand, so it was strange, because I knew him personally, and I knew he killed his dad, and and then hearing the story, it was like I wasn't. It was non-threatening,
right? But like
non-threatening at all.
I think that if anybody watching or people haven't been through it, I think there would be some concern sleeping next to a murderer.
This guy killed somebody.
I had several cellies, many, at least 4 or 5 cellies that I had that were murderers. And
you got to sleep with one eye open. I mean, you're already in prison.
I never even thought about it, man. I never even thought about it. I just, you don't have a choice. You just, like once I got there, I saw right away, like, look, you know what? I'm not going to get out of here. So the only thing I can do is try to learn something from this, or try to make something. Try to do something while I'm here. Try to somehow pass the time. And so you just do what you can. And but I just eventually realized that you get it in your mind. You're not going anywhere. You might as well just accept this whole situation. So you accept the murderers and everything along with it.
Yeah.
So
you just. I mean,
how's your life today? What's changed for you? Obviously, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it's so strange living in the house where I was living before I went to prison. It's like the most bittersweet thing you can imagine, because it just came out of thin air, but that really drives it all home. Like now I have a normal job. I have a great job, beautiful wife, beautiful daughter. It's you wouldn't think I had to do some paperwork, dancing to get this job. I got out. I wasn't able to get a job. I had a real hard time. And,
it's hard.
So
Sucks.
I started my own business. I had started a boat dock business years ago. I'd always built boat docks, and so I had no problem starting that back up. And then I eventually I got with this girl. We bought a bar and fixed her upper, fixed it up, got it making money, got it on TV.
Nice.
Yeah, got it doing real well.
Where's that at?
It's in Buckeye Lake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called the Beach House Pub. It was called the Beachcomber when we got it, and it was a hunk of shit. And it was through a friend of ours that she'd worked for in the past, and we got this thing, no money down. It was just a lucky situation. Like most people, if they're getting out, aren't going to have this happen. Right place, right time. I know a lot of people, and if you're on the positive side of selling drugs, if you sell them to the right people, you have a lot of secrets. Like a lot of people don't want you to know that they've done that in the past.
Right, so you can blackmail them.
I wouldn't say it's that at all. But
it's just like an unspoken.
Yeah, it's sort of very unspoken blackmail that happens daily. I think throughout that process, all the time. Nobody ever talks about it, but I think it's always there. So I've used it for sure, absolutely. I got us on TV right away. I got us on Good Day Columbus through that, and. The place was on. It's doing well now, but her and I have separated, and I got big fat zero out of that. So,
nada.
You can't get a liquor license. Turns out if you sell real drugs, or if you sell illegal drugs, they won't give you a license to sell legal drugs later.
Ever,
So you can't get a liquor license if you get drug felonies. Know that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And unless there's a 15-year waiting period, then you can do it. But yeah, so that went really well. We did a great job with that. We built it up. Met a lot of great connections there. I got the boat dock business started again and got that doing good. So when her and I separated, I contacted some friends that own a nice resort. Some friends of mine I grew up with are doing real well in Florida. They are a property management group, and they just own a bunch of great property, and they just do really well. And these are just smart kids, and they were the most normal people I've ever known. When my parents got divorced, I moved across from these two, and they had a pretty good, their mom kind of would let me hang out every day with them, and long story short, they took me in again later in life when I lost the bar and my ex and I split up. They invited me down there to help them work on the resort and remodel their properties and stuff, and spent a couple years down there doing that. It was great, and ended up coming back here. And
how long have you been out for?
Oh, geez, at least 10 years. Yeah.
Really?
10 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been 10
Seriously.
years now, I guess. Yeah, thank you. I guess it really has been close to 10 years.
And here's why I respect the fuck out of Nate. This is what's won me. I mean, I've always liked you, like, from day one. But, like, so he's dating my wife's sister, right? They get married. She gets pregnant. They don't have, a technical roof of their own, right? So this fucking guy takes this, like, what would you call it, like a loft?
Yeah, it's a barn garage. Yeah,
so
those
complete,
garage,
complete.
yeah, hunk of shit.
It was just a complete
Yeah,
shithole, really. When he
beautiful spot, beautiful
but then
place, but
he
just
turned it,
bad
and then he
shape.
fucking built this thing into like a nice little like
Oh yeah, I went top to
house,
bottom on
man.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
I put new floors, new everything. I mean, new floor, every light switch, every outlet, all the light fixtures.
So they
you
can
know,
have a place to
You
live.
do everything.
Yeah, knocked out walls, made the rooms bigger.
Like,
did new
literally did
drywall.
everything in
Yeah,
that place.
remodeled completely. It was nothing when it was completely gutted and roof. I'd put a roof on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I put a new roof on it. The day before hernia surgery, I put a roof on that place myself.
I remember that.
This thing is
Yeah.
high up in the air too, and I knew I had to get it done because I had a baby on the way, and I'm gonna not be able to walk for a while, and the roof's leaking, and the baby's
Got
gonna
it
be born.
done.
We're gonna have a roof. So long. We got it done in time, man. 2 weeks before she was born. We
Yeah.
were in there. I mean,
And it's
it
a
came
nice-
Out, yeah, it came
it
out beautiful.
looks
Yeah,
good.
now we're
It's-
living right on the water on the sidewalk.
awesome.
Yeah,
He's
it's
got a
great.
sweet location.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
It's
it works out
awesome.
beautiful. Right beside one of my best friends. My whole life was so nice enough to let me do this. We were in a pinch. When she got pregnant, I was living with my grandparents, and things were expensive in Buckeye Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at $1,000 a month for rent. And I just bumped into my buddy, and this came about. He said, "If you remodel it, you can stay." And so we put our own money into it. Did
And-
top to bottom, made it beautiful, and now we're back in that
That's
same
great.
place. Yeah, when I jumped out that window last, it was in the same condition
Right,
that
right.
it was when I came back 10 years later, and now my wife
Full
and my
circle.
kid. And I,
There it
yeah, my
is.
So
wife-
one more question though. Okay, so this is what I find ironic. So your mom, right, called the cops on you back in the day for the pot, right?
Yeah, quite
Nate,
a few
you know I
times,
love you, but
actually.
you're probably I have a small circle friend. You're probably the biggest pothead I know, right?
Yeah.
And you have a great relationship with your mom today.
Yes.
How the fuck does that happen?
My mom and she is soft and thank. I'm glad you asked me that because I'm glad we got back to that. My mom, she has, her attitude softened, I think, with the rest of society partially.
Well, you're also not like fucking up anymore, which probably
Yeah.
helps. I have to imagine that goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. She knows it. And but she did tell me that it would be the last time that she would help me. But God love her, this is what she called the police on me a lot, and I think she probably knows that it set me on a bad. It probably did more harm than good in the end.
You think so?
I'd say it probably did. I wouldn't have went to live with my dad. I probably wouldn't have ended up selling drugs on a massive scale like that. And,
Okay.
I doubt it would have. It was pretty innocent until that point.
Yeah.
But in any event, I don't think that's the. I'm making my own decisions. My mom, nothing she did. She was a young mother. She had, I'm sure she was even more confused than any of us. So, she didn't do anything that she didn't think was the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm positive about
Right.
that. And, so today, yeah, she tried spending 2 hours at that table for 6 years.
Mhm.
Those
Oh, in the visiting room?
Yeah, my mom, God love her, you can't leave those visits. Every 2 hours you're in, that's it. The door doesn't open for 2 more hours. So you know how it is. Those people have to stay
Yep.
for 2 hours. So, that's a long time to talk about things.
Especially when you're in that situation, yeah.
Yeah, if you're just
When
at
you're
a
in
table
prison,
like
you
that.
got to
In a
face
little
down.
Air the
room,
grievances.
boom, all right.
Yeah.
So, hey, what's the weather out? Now that's it. We've talked about the weather. Now what? 2 more hours left.
Right.
So my mom, God love her, she came every month. She always sent me money. She, she was beyond supportive when I got out and when I went in and everything. And so, from that, that was partly my reason for making sure I didn't fuck up.
Yeah.
Again,
Mom.
It's awesome.
Or originally that was part of it because she was so good to me when I was in there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I, tried to pay her back some way.
And your mom is a delightful lady. I just met her, last 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're at the
she-
birthday
yeah,
party.
she's
Yes,
a
yes.
delightful little lady.
She's the best, man. Like she really has it's brought my mom and I closer for sure. Like the whole experience. In the end, I've always said this, I would not change a thing. My whole life I'd go to prison again. I'd
hear that a lot,
I'd do it
yeah.
all again.
All the same, yeah.
Yep. I mean, to get where I'm at today, I'd definitely do it all again. But I said that before I went in. I've always said that. So,
Yeah.
I don't, and it doesn't change today.
Can you guys laugh about it
Congrats.
now? Like, remember when you called the cops on me for having pot?
A little bit, yeah.
You're working on that?
Kind of a little bit. We've kind of talked about it a little bit, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, she's just gotten a lot, over the years. She has just grown a lot cooler. Like everybody else has kind of accepted pot a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
And now that I'm not on drugs and a drug dealer and looking down prison,
Yeah.
and she's probably
Things
not
go a
scared
little
to death every
smoother.
night,
Yeah.
it's we get along great. I mean, because she's always my mom. You couldn't ask for more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you just really couldn't. If it weren't for her keeping me, through that time, it would have been a lot harder. She definitely came every month, sent me the boxes, everything that a person could do, she did.
It's nice to have that when you're locked up.
Oh yeah,
So
that's all you have when you're locked
without
up.
it. Yeah, it would have made it completely different.
Yeah.
It would have changed my time entirely.
Right.
I mean, I always had food to eat. Mama was good to me in there. Thank God.
Man.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for coming out. Yeah,
Bye.
man. I love watching you do your thing, man.
Hey,
Love watching you do your
thank
thing.
you too, Aaron, for having me. I appreciate it, man.
I think
Thank you.
our kids are gonna be homies.
I know, man. It's gonna be nice. We're gonna have imagine the stories that they're gonna have to tell.
God,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like, oh, your dad did this. My dad did this.
Yeah, but but one of those is gonna be about us being homemakers.
Oh yeah. Not home wreckers.
Yeah, there's no
anymore.
home wrecking going on around.
But
Yeah,
in
it's
order
homemaking.
to make a house new, you gotta demolish.
You're
it.
damn right.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta give it away to.
Yeah, you gotta start a fresh foundation. Well, Nate, I love you, buddy, and
All
thanks
right,
for coming
man.
out,
thank you,
dude.
man. Thank you.
Appreciate
Guys.
it,
Nice to
man.
meet you, man. Thank you too.
Yeah, all right.
I think you're doing a good thing here.
Yes, sir.
People need to talk about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's nice that.